my gosh!
It's been all hands on deck.
Ta-da! There you have it.
On this truck and tanker.
There it goes.
Always like the excitement around here. We're finally ready to start the tanker itself.
They did say this is empty, right?
This your Rolls, huh?
This is it. I want you to tear everything out of this car and make it perfect.
Man, we got some work ahead of us.
A little more of a job than we anticipated, but ain't nothing we can't handle.
Classic look, new style.
We got one other thing to show you.
Whoa! Look at that!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Man, we got a lot of stuff doing that tanker, man. Got a lot more to go. I wish John would come in so we could talk about it.
You rang?
Man, you got a buzzer back there? A John buzzer? I need one of them.
No, I'd rather you not have that. All right, what do we got to do?
Man, we got a lot of work done on the semi so far. We got all the air suspension on there, you know, the independent front suspension, big 4-link in the back, the control arms, we got the shocks, got all that handled. We dropped the engine in the truck, got the engine mounted. We had to cut the firewall, make it fit, rebuild the firewall. Got the stacks on it, it's all stacked up.
Nice, nice. I saw it sitting in the shop the other day. That thing's looking mean.
Yes. You know, we finished the steering, we got it off and got it powder coated, painted engine, but we still got a long way to go.
All right, what we got?
The console needs to be built, so we're gonna need some material for that.
New carpet, headliner, seats, freshen it all up.
Yeah,
do our
man.
thing to it.
Let me know what materials you want, the colors. I get that all ordered out.
All right.
You know, the front bumper, we got to get that all mocked up, so we're going to need some steel for that. The truck's looking good. We still got a big, big job out there on that tanker, right?
Yeah.
You know, the old air brakes, the old springs in it, definitely not going to work. We're going to cut all that out, start with a brand new 10,000-pound trailer axle with electric brakes on it. So anybody can get in that truck and drive it and not have to worry about sliding the truck sideways, right? Brand new 4-link, huge 4-link, big bag, so it'll handle good, ride good, and of course be able to get low.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of airline coming for that.
Man, there's a ton of airline.
The thing with big stacks laid out on air, just
Big
look,
wheels.
everything about it.
Man, they're gonna be blown away.
It's gonna represent their company, our company. It's gonna look good
Yep.
riding in the parades.
You ready to get it? I'm ready.
I've been ready.
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
All right.
All right, man. I'm gonna get it. Oh, yeah.
We're doing, how many times have we do that?
I think this is the oldest tool in the shop. It looked like this when I was a kid. You know, after all the custom parts we made for this tanker, we can't just be having that factory bumper. This is the bumper that came on the tanker. It just takes away from the whole design of the whole truck. So I had Jesse burn me some plate, 12-inch by 7 foot, and we're gonna roll it just a little bit to give that nice curvature to the front of the truck. Dang! Man, I think we're good with that. What we'll do is transfer this onto our plate, and that'll be the bottom of it. So that's gonna hold everything nice and straight. Plasma? It takes a very steady hand. You want me to show you a little trick? See that right there? Yeah. Drag your hand now. That's super slick. The piece we rolled is not perfectly consistent. So we just cut one side, flip the drop piece to replicate the other side. That makes a perfect template. Ta-da, there you have it.
Here's our nice radius. It's the same on both sides. It's now got everything ground down and cleaned up. It's gonna be a nice, clean surface well tube. Okay, so you can see the piece I just got done cutting and cleaning. Added it to the piece that Bill and I rolled. You can kind of start to see already it's starting to shape up like a front bumper. That looks pretty good.
We're gonna make that work. One of the last steps for the front bumper is capping the top. I want it to fit the curvature of the body and around the grill, so it looks like it was made that way. And right now, I'm just making the template out of chipboard so we can transfer it over to our 3/16 thick metal. All right, we have to fine tune it once it's metal, you know what I mean?
Before we cut our 3/16 top plate for the bumper, we're gonna go ahead and make a template out of sheet metal. It's more rigid. It's gonna give us a better placement for exact marks we need to cut so we can get corner to corner and get it tight in those fenders.
Let's gotta go this way a little bit. It's a lot easier to modify the 20 gauge other than modifying the 3/16. We made a perfect template out of the 20 gauge, so now I'm gonna trace it out on the 3/16, so we only have to do that one time. About to do a little test fit, which we already did with the templates. We know it's gonna fit, so we know it's gonna look good, so we're about to tack this piece in. It's fitting the body perfectly. We've got that perfect 1/4-inch gap all the way around. Our next step is chop the sides, cap them in, do the final welding, sanding, ready to paint.
Good job, buddy. Gold star of the week. Come on in a little bit, right there.
Ooh. Hey, it ain't quite as heavy as a 40-foot, but it's got some weight to it. You know, while we're finishing the cab, we're finally ready to start the biggest part of this project, the tanker itself. Man, trying to get this big old thing in there, for some reason, somebody thought it was a good idea to put a lift right outside that door. We're getting it in that shop one way or another.
We're gonna watch it roll over.
I hear you.
All right, make sure it don't buckle this. It's
Trying to
buckle in the
scoot it?
stand. What if we put it on the dolly?
Push it my way, too.
I am.
All right, hold up. Make sure you got an eye on this thing. If it starts going, get out the
Yeah,
way.
just let it fall.
Here we go. It's gotta stay straight now. Hey, hold up.
How far we got?
Man, we got 6 inches until it hits that blue box on the top of the roof.
Is it in the hole?
I need to go back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Scare you?
Yeah, I'm nervous around you.
Got it, you good. Come my way.
Fix it, come down the ramp.
Nothing behind me? Might have a little slide going on.
It might take them.
There it goes. That's off the ramp.
Coming, right there, that's it.
I mean, that don't remind you of the barbecue pit truck.
It does.
That was a close one. Always like the excitement around here.
It's not bad.
You know, before we can make the air suspension on this 51 tanker trailer with this heavy-duty 4-link setup, I asked Ryan to tear out all the old suspension first.
We just got the rear end cut out of the trailer. We're gonna lift it up, roll the rear end out of here. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna get all these brackets off the frame. Oh, yes, it came right off. And just get it ready to start building my hangers and doing some suspension work. Hey, they did say this is empty, right? Damn, that's gonna be torqued off. That sucks. They put a lot of weld on that. I found a split where the frame cracked, and that's why they have all these scab plates here. So I'm just gonna take it completely out and start fresh. The scab plate is just used to join 2 pieces of metal together. So we decided to cut it out, put brand new rails in there. By doing that, it ensures 100% certainty that this thing is going to be perfectly sound whenever it gets on the road. So I'm using these plates to just keep this frame rail straight with this rail. That way when I weld it and grind it, it just looks like one solid piece. Got my rails tacked in, and now I'm just gonna go cut my cross members, throw them in there, put a little weld on them, and go grab that axle out there. So as old rusty rails are out of the picture, it looked like crap, and it's not really in our best judgment to let something like that leave. When it comes to doing patchwork, it's way better to take the time and do it right and ensure ourselves that's not gonna come back and we're not gonna be replacing or fixing something that we've already had our hands on in the past. You tell him.
We're ready to build the air suspension on this 53 tanker trailer, starting with the heavy-duty links.
All right, so we got our 4-link brackets made up. We'll get some good hard measurements. Get some tabs tacked onto the rear end. As of right now, it looks pretty good. We're 4.5. By mocking out the link arms, I'll be able to replicate the ones for the other side. Now that we got it to this point, all we gotta do is add some tacks, and then we'll transfer it to the truck. Throw that there for right now. Getting jiggy with it. I like to put this washer on the inside there before I put my Heim on. That way, after it gets painted or powder coated, it still fits in there without having to wedge it in there and chip all your powder coat off. I don't even remember where I learned that at. That's where I need to be. 4.5.
Fred.
Bill, pleasure meeting you.
Hey, nice to meet you. This your Rolls, huh?
This is it, 1964 Rolls-Royce.
Man, it's a beautiful car. I mean, the body style is just iconic. I mean, when you see that come around the corner, you know, hey, that's a Rolls. So why a 64 Rolls?
Well, I owned a 64 Rolls-Royce before, had to sell it to keep my business going, and I always promised myself when I made it, I'm gonna buy another 64, and there's only one guy I wanted to do the job, and that's you.
Man, I appreciate that. You know, you can see a couple little issues with it. You know, is that what you come in for, is just paint?
Ground up restoration. I want you to tear everything out of this car and make it perfect.
So, Fred, you want us to take this handmade car and even make it a little more handmade?
It'll be Bill handmade car.
All right.
I know you can make this drive and run like a new Rolls.
We built a lot of vehicles over the years, but this is the first time we've ever built a Rolls. You know, these things were classy and fast for the times, with a 6-liter V8 giving it 220 horsepower. Any Rolls is a hand-built car, but when it comes to totally tearing it apart, we're gonna have to hand make a lot of parts to make this project work. You know, one of the first things we gotta do then is just rip out this old suspension. Gotta have you riding on the air to have it comfortable, you know, like a new one.
Yes.
It's not gonna sit all the way down on the ground. It would just take away from this iconic body style. You know, the wheels and tires, you have to pick the right one for this car.
I'm leaving all of that up to you.
You know, I see a couple things concerning, you know, body work popping up on a couple spots. Probably need to blast it and really see what we're working with.
There's no question that you're gonna have to do body work on.
You know, just looking at this car, it's a 1964, and it's definitely showing its age. You know, the body work's popping up. You can tell it's gonna need a lot of metal work. What are you thinking as far as paint colors?
I like that new Porsche blue where the silver is.
So you want a two-tone?
I want a two-tone. The two-tone's important on this car because Rolls-Royce always was two-tone back in those days. They made a few all-white ones, but the two-tone made the body style stand out.
What you got under the hood? What you working with under there?
Well, I think it's still the stock 64 Rolls motor.
Oh, man, it's a little rough under here. Fred, you got a boat?
No.
We got a boat anchored. You know, putting a big rumbling engine in here definitely isn't the way to go. It would take away from this iconic car.
I'm gonna leave the motor up to you, Bill. You
All
put
right.
what you think is best for me to be a nice cruising automobile.
Out with the old and definitely in with some new. Interior on something like this is really important. So what you got going on in here? Man, right-hand drive, huh?
Got to switch that over immediately. Left-hand drive.
It looks like the dash is, you know, mirrored, so I don't think it'd be much trouble to be able to do that.
You know, what's iconic about a Rolls is the woodwork in it. And you see the seat back wood trays. That was the thing to have.
It looks like the wood's in good shape, but as far as like the rest of it, I don't think there's no saving it, right?
I agree with you.
You know, the interior is like half of this job. It's a big car with a lot of interior, and a lot of details are gonna have to go in this. I mean, you always compare to a Rolls interior. This is actually a Rolls interior.
And a Rolls is a Rolls is a Rolls.
Yeah. Everything else in here, 100% brand new. You know, new seats, carpet, door panels, get rid of the rag top, maybe even putting the new Starry Light headliner in, the new Rolls.
That'd be great.
Basically have that new Rolls feel in this 64.
That's why I'm here. I've built a lot of cars in my life. I want this one to be the masterpiece.
Man, we'll definitely get you hooked up with that.
Can't wait to sit in the back seat of this car and have somebody cruise me along.
There you go. Well, let's go make it official.
Okay, buddy.
You know, I can totally relate to having to sell a vehicle to make payroll or buy that next part of your business, you know, whatever the case may be. I've been in that same boat, but Fred's new Rolls, he ain't getting rid of that. He made it. Of course, I say this quite a bit, but this is a big challenge. We don't know what's underneath all that paint and bodywork that's there. We got to take it apart and blast it. Surprise, we'll see what comes in. But one of the biggest challenges is in the interior. Making this car look like and feel like, smell like a brand new Rolls, that's coming with it on that. You know, Rolls has always been setting the standards for the rest of the car industry. You know, it's always been one off, one at a time, hand-built parts and pieces. It's made with pride and just made with that passion. You know, that's exactly what we're gonna do here. Hand make every part and piece with pride also.
Well, you're waiting for some of that fancy mustard or what?
Right. Looking to see if I see anything good in here.
Looks pretty rough.
Man, we got some work ahead of us. He wants to be sitting in here and feel like a 2022.
Classic look, new style.
We're gonna touch on every point of this car. We got a little bit of wood in the interior.
Yeah.
Everything else, you're gonna get.
I got some parts to be looking at.
Yeah, a lot of parts to be looking up. I mean, seats, door panels, dash, carpet, headliner. We're gonna weld up the rag top, everything.
And we're gonna add the new technology in it too.
Absolutely. Anything that's cool, we want to put in here. It's right-hand drive just because that's the car he found, but he does want it left-hand drive.
Well, if I own this car, I wouldn't be driving. I'd be sitting right here.
Right.
This is where I'd be sitting back, enjoying a nice cocktail being driven around.
Well, he wants to look at the guy driving on the left-hand side. You know, finding the right wheels and tires.
The vintage, but the newer.
Absolutely. This isn't just something you call up the local parts house and tell them to deliver it.
Well, I'm gonna have to try and get some contacts over the seas and see what we can find on that.
I got faith in you.
So does my mom. As far as the suspension goes, are we air riding down to the ground? What are you gonna do to this?
No, we're not trying to get it all the way on the ground or anything like that. It will have some adjustability, but the main thing is ride quality. You want it to ride on a silver cloud, right?
Yeah. And then as far as the paint goes, are you doing a two-tone or are you gonna say single?
Man, I think we'll have to do two-tone in this. I mean, this body style, it's made for two-tone.
They actually have hand pinstriping down from factory. Do we need to find somebody to maybe come in and take care of that for us?
Man, for sure. You really want the best of the best in here. You know, under the hood, we don't want something really loud and obnoxious.
So we're staying away from the superchargers.
Not for this project. He ain't trying to burn the tires off. He wants something quiet, but still has a lot of power.
Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of power for this big boat.
Most definitely. We're about to see how good the new parts guy is on this one.
Well, I wasn't born when this was made, so we're definitely gonna have to see what's out there. So I'll get with John, we'll put a game plan together, I'll find what I can find, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good, man. I'm ready to get at it.
Let's do it. I'll call your driver.
No matter how classy this Rolls once was, most of that class was from long ago. So we need to tear it all down before we can build it back up again. You know, from my experience, the more handmade a vehicle is, the way more work it is to tear it down.
Guess what? I am gonna touch everything, so. Yes, first thing is we figure out how this seat comes out. We want to get all of this out of here and preserve what we can. They're hand built, so who knows how the hands built them. Stuck over here. Bolt right there, and I can't get stuck. I ain't even got the first piece off this dang thing yet. I was excited, but now I hate it. Guess what? The trunk smells just as bad as the inside of the car. Ah, still no room for activities. All the trim in the car is made of wood, and it's neat to look back and see all the effort that went into these things. This window trim is one solid piece of wood. This is probably one of the most impressive pieces that I've seen in the car so far. We may need that for later purposes. Just don't let there be anything alive in here, we'll be good. Kid gloves still need to be used somewhat. We don't want to just go tearing into it and tear everything apart. I want to make sure I get this thing nice and safe so they can get the cutting on it.
All right, so John pulled all the interior out of this car, and I've been summoned to separate it, tear it down the rest of the way. So that's what we're gonna do. Dude, this is gonna take a year. Man, technology's come a long way. That emergency brake system is just like insane. It yanks on there, puts tension on this, and then it pulls that this way, and that arm goes that way, and that arm goes that way. I'm serious, I'm not making that up. Pretty cool standing underneath these old cars and seeing how far we've come. So cool that we're gonna do away with it completely and never look at it ever again. It's cool, but we start fresh, clean slate, and make our own stuff, and to see if maybe we might be able to engineer something that's cool as this. There's a big old grill, the emblem. You see all that, you just know you're in the money. Well, not this one. I mean, 'cause this one's pretty janky, but we're gonna make it nice again. Look at that. Been on there for 97 years.
Now that we have the body off the frame, we're gonna send it out to Media Blast. Now it's time to find out exactly how much work we got in front of us. At the same time, Ryan's finishing up the suspension on the 51 tanker. John's gonna get going on the interior.
All right, it's time to build a center console. We've got to have room for our shifter. We'll make a boot for that. We've got our air ride control for the truck, a couple of cup holders, because got to have someplace to put your drink when you're riding around. So what I did is I just put a stop in here so I can set this in the truck and I don't have to worry about these things popping up, and it'll keep the same height so that when the console is done, these will still fit in there. Basically, just gonna take these things, carry them over to the truck, start placing it around, figure out how we're gonna get it all put together. So just make me a template of the floor here. Once I get the template of the floor, I can start laying out the pieces for the console. Once I got those laid out, I'll have the profile for the side of the console, and I can start with that profile and build from there. Now that I got my chipboard template all lined out where it needs to be, transfer it over to this 1/4 inch, turn this into a router template. We'll take that router template, make a couple of pieces, and we'll have most of a console. To the router. That's that. All right, I'm gonna glue them together, nail them up. All right, we've got all of our pieces in place. Do a little bit of mud work on this. It'll almost be ready to wrap. Center console for the tanker is all done and ready to go. So next step, get it wrapped, get it in the truck, and kick it out the door.
Now that we have the 4-link on the tanker, Jesse's gonna burn out some plates so Ryan can get going on the lower bag brackets.
Tack that here onto this lower bag plate. We'll tack the other one the same way. So on a project like this, obviously everything is gonna be a one-off part. This isn't anything that we can just go grab off the shelf. This is basically like the coolest part of the job, is getting to just build something from nothing, seeing everything come to life and seeing everything work. It's just like a little puzzle, or like a big puzzle, actually. So I'm taking this square right here and just kind of running it down and just making sure everything lines up right. This one's kind of free floater right now. I can move it around as I like. My spacing is never gonna change. This one looks good. I got it pretty much exactly where I want it. I'll tack this one in and our bag brackets will be done.
You know, back in the day, this tanker was made for hauling heavy loads, but now it's really just for show. Either way, this truck is still a heavy piece of equipment. With all this weight, we're gonna use a lot bigger airbag than we normally use. So right now, Ryan's finishing up the heavy-duty upper bag mount.
So we're about to make our upper bag brackets now. We'll use these two 2x3s to brace the top of it, keep it very strong. And we'll take our D plates, we'll get them here, we'll center them, we'll figure out our measurement and line it up and then chop off our end. That way everything flows at the bottom. So after we get done with that too, I can make me a plate, just give it some character, do something here, or figure something out. Now, dam's cooked now. So you can see we got our upper bag bracket tree made up here. We're gonna get it welded, tack it up into the trailer and weld it all the rest of the way out. You know, this could have been anything. This could have been very simple, or this could have been way more over the top. But this is the best part of fabricating, is I get to use my imagination and just come up with something what I would want in my own vehicle. And that looks cool.
The 64 Rolls is back from the media blast, and just as I suspected, it's bad. It's real, real bad. Because I had a feeling it was gonna be this bad, I called in an old friend, a fabricator with skills to rebuild a Rolls-Royce, my buddy, Brandon Cisco.
Hey, Bill.
Man, Cisco, how you doing, man?
Good.
My son, Boston.
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. And that's the helper you're telling me about?
Yeah, that's the one I decided to bring with me.
You got him qualified?
He's certified. He's been doing this since he was like 5 years old, so.
All right.
He's
all
good.
right. You like sheet metal work?
Yep.
Well, good, because there's a lot to do on here, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's been sitting in pasture for a long time.
You know, this car was bought out of Beverly Hills. So you were thinking, you know, we were going to get a pristine Rolls-Royce and just modify it, do what we need to do. But no, we just got in the middle of a big mess right now.
It's more like Beverly Hillbillies.
Right. You know, one good thing, we're not worried about factory body mounts under here, because even those are damaged. So we're going to build a full chassis for this, so it doesn't necessarily have to go back with replicating the factory body mounts or anything. So I need your guys' help on this.
A little more of a job than we anticipated, but ain't nothing we can't handle.
I think that's every job we take in.
Everyone.
Overly exaggerated, under anticipated. But I know you guys can handle it, man. I know I got the right team on the job.
Right on, man.
All right, man. Let's see what you got.
Looks like some of the pasture's still in it.
All right, so we got that piece off now, and just like I thought, there's a third layer we didn't see before. Instead of having 2 pieces to repair, we have 3 pieces. I've come to realize that rust repair is just an ongoing process until you get down to the good metal. And sometimes that good metal isn't there, so you have to replace the whole part. Well, this side looks even worse than that side. You can actually count the layers like tree rings in here of all the repairs. As each layer would rotten through, they would just layer another piece over it. Nobody ever cut off the bad spot. Hey, come over here, check this out. Those are original drain holes If you push this back, you can see that's an original drain plug that got covered over with somebody's repair. Nobody ever cleaned it. Let's keep going. Back in the day, these cars were hand-built by some of the best craftsmen in the business. They'd be rolling in their graves now they saw how people were repairing their dream work. I'm literally pulling these panels off with my fingers. So whoever did the last repair on this used pop rivets, no welds, no nothing underneath. It's a very low-budget way of attaching a panel. I think we're both down to the original metal.
Yeah.
So now where the flanges are off of these main braces, see where the edge of the flange is?
Yeah.
Cut straight through and then cut up to the floor, about a ½ inch down from the floor.
All right.
It's embarrassing to a fabricator to see somebody go back over your work and just kind of cobble it up like this. All right, now I need a minute to evaluate what's next. Now I can see everything. All the layers have been taken off, so I can see where to start at the good metal, which with very little love still, but there is some. We've got some reference points of where the new rocker needs to be at the back of these flat flanges here that we left. So I can take some measurements on those, make a couple patterns, and then keep this from happening again to the next guy that comes down the line 30 or 40 years from now to repair my work. He won't laugh at me like I do these guys.
You know, the 64 Rolls-Royce is definitely what I call a ground-up build. You know, and right now, we're at the basement. Cisco and his boy Boston are gonna add back all that integrity into those rockers. You know, it's a lot of work, and you probably won't notice it when it's done, but we can't do anything until it's done.
Yeah, look at it. Lining right up. So we got the new rocker panels fitted to the car. They fit the floorboards, they fit the inner floor bracing. We're pretty happy how they fit right now, so we're gonna go ahead and get them into place, finish welding them up, and move on to the outside rockers. So working with my son's great. He's been out with me in the shop since he was 2, 3 years old, because I never told my boys, any of them, to not play with any of my tools. I would show them how to turn it on, show them how to use it, show them the proper safety. I didn't even start doing what I do until I was 15, so he's got about a 15-year head start on me. So I can't wait to see what it's gonna be like the next 15 years. Oh yeah, a lot better. 100 times better. We got the main braces welded to the new panel. It's pretty solid, but it's not welded to the floor yet. So we're going to hammer down the floor to match the new flat panel we just welded in. So as I tap it down, he's gonna go ahead and throw a couple of welds on there, and I'll move down and I'll just keep hammering it down until he gets it flush all the way across the bottom of the floor. So now that we got this panel in, pretty happy with how much it strengthened up the bottom of the car and how straight it looks now and how it fits real nice and tight. Door sill plates are savable, but we need to replace all of this outside rocker piece. So we have to cut all these spot welds out, get this old rusty chunk off of here. So using the air chisel to take the spot welds off causes a lot of waviness in the metal. You can't really hammer and dolly it with all the welds in the way, so I knock those off the grinder real quick. Then I'll go through my hammer and dolly and straighten up this edge to the proper shape that it needs to be at for the new panel to weld to it. Got some pretty big rust repair to do in this front corner. I don't even have a word to describe how bad some of this stuff looks. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this chunk out of here too and just fabricate a new front piece as well as a new back piece for this corner right here. That is all Bondo. So that's another person that prepared right over the top of somebody else's body color with steel. It's like a ham sandwich. It's really weird. So I will be also cutting this corner off now and making a new panel here along with this. Let's dig into this center pillar and see what it's like. So working on a project like this, you really can be overwhelmed by the entire project at once. You really have to focus on the structural part of it first, get yourself a good base to start with.
You know, when I was first getting into this business, I never thought we'd be building a custom Rolls-Royce. But here we are in the early building foundation stages. You know, there's many, many more stages to go and many stages after those stages. This build's gonna be one of those to remember. But as one begins, another one is almost on the road. Ryan's finishing up those last bits on that 51 tanker.
Everything nice that we've done is being just taken away by all this crap that's left on here. We're not gonna let it leave like that. So come up with a real simple plan, fast, easy. Take some 1 by 1 and run it down this whole section here. And then we can take some sheet metal and bend it, get a nice contour, and then we can rivet it in up here as well. And you'll never see any of this ever again. You'll just see two smooth, nice panels coming down, and it will just hide all this stuff here. Here comes the javelin. Yeah. So I put this 1 by 1 up in there just so I can see where it's gonna be. I made some marks so I can come in, grind it up, so I got a nice clean surface to weld to. So we just got our metal rolled. You see we got our contour that we want to work with. We'll use our template. We'll transfer all of our lines that we've made on this small template here to the bigger sheet. Once we have the brakes in it, we can throw it up underneath the trailer and see what we got. All right, 45. You know, doing this sometimes, you know, it does take a little bit longer. It does take a little bit more effort, you know, but at the end of the day, when you step back and look at the finished product, it's always better to go the extra mile and take pride in your work. Thank you, sir. Now that we got our pieces made, all we gotta do now is trim them to fit the trailer. So on the passenger side of the trailer, there's a bunch of hookup, other kind of stuff over there. So we're gonna trim around all that stuff to where we can slide these things in there and have the nicest, cleanest look as possible. All right, so we got our panels in place. We wanna make something that covers this void right here, keep air from wanting to go in there, make these things wanna shake. We'll just take our chipboard, throw it on up in there, and also kind of clean up all this back here that we don't want anybody to see. Yeah, that looks better. Just gonna transfer it to some metal. Bango, bango. I got an extra pair of hands. Using the straight edge makes it much easier. You have like the straightest line that you possibly can get, and really no cleanup. It's a no-brainer. All right, now that I got it transferred, cut out, everything looks good. We'll take it over there, throw it up there. If it fits, it ships. Like a glove. Love it.
I never do anything the same twice, so I'm just always learning. That's the original undercoating on the original panel. I started off building model cars, actually, and I never built the model car that came in the box. We would get 3 or 4 kits, and I would just mix and match them all together. All right, we're good. Got into high school, got to thinking about starting to drive and things like that. My dad said, if you want something to drive when you turn 16, you're gonna have to look now and get something and build it yourself. At the time, I'd never even changed a spark plug or nothing. I was just, just doing model cars. So I had big dreams of this big giant step-side Chevy truck. The way I bought that was I got a lamb, a sheep, and I raised it and I sold it at the fair and made a pretty good penny on it. My dad said that some family members had a 76 Chevy step-side that needed a lot of work for $600, and I started working on it at 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I'm really pushing myself to become the best at everything I can.
All right, so everything's done with the trailer. It's all painted, powder coated, and everything. It's time for assembly. Start off with our airbags. I've learned how to work by myself over the years. That's why you always grab 2 nuts. Whoa, whoa, never. So now that the bag's in the tank and everything is starting to come together, it's all mounted. This will go into the tank and it'll give me a supply out to my valves. There's a little water separator to keep the water out of your bags and everything. And then you got your pressure switch on the other side, which tells the compressors when to turn off and turn on. And this will go to my Pack 80, which will also get mounted on here, along with our battery and breaker and everything else. Yeah. So now we got compressors and tank, we got bags. I can mount my valves now. And then once we get our valves mounted, then we can run some air lines.
Man, it's been all hands on deck on this truck and tanker, but we're almost there. Airlines, new frame covers, the stacks, you know, getting this 12-valve Cummins running, and we're ready to give this one back.
Hey, Bill, how's it going?
How y'all doing?
Good to see you, man.
Bill called us and said our trucks are ready. We were so stoked about it, and we brought Lynn Wallace down, the owner of the company.
She trusted us to bring the truck down and put
Bill and his team spin on it.
My butt's riding on the line.
A while back, Larry and Matt came down and dropped the truck off to us. The plan was to make it fit in with your fleet.
This is a special one, though, because we're going to take it out into the communities where we operate and take it in parades. The other trucks are working trucks. They haul our fuel, but this one's going to be a showcase.
Well, I know you're going to like what we did. So you guys ready to check it out?
Yes,
ready.
sir.
Let's
Absolutely.
Oh my
gosh!
It is so awesome.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Look at the wheels.
That's awesome.
The stacks, Larry. What
do you think, Larry?
It's gorgeous.
I'm dumbfounded, man. I'm speechless.
Can we get in it?
Lynn's reaction was priceless.
She loved it, which was a good relief for us.
Her family is going to be shocked when they actually all see it together.
It's gorgeous.
You guys knocked it out of the park.
Beautiful.
I think they're liking it.
See the colors.
One of the first things you see when you're walking to it is the front bumper. We had to get rid of that old channel that was on there.
Bill had a great idea about making it contour to the fenders and the grill, stretching it out.
Yeah, it looks like it was meant to be there.
It just sets the attitude for the truck, right? Another thing that we did right off the bat is just rip out all the old suspension. We built independent front suspension, new rear end, new 4-link rear suspension with airbags all the way around.
It's definitely adjustable to ride, turn this thing easy.
And you have the hydraulic brakes now too, so anybody can hit the brake pedal and glide to a stop.
I think I heard you just say, I'm going to be able to drive it and feel safe.
That's it.
Awesome.
I know Larry's gonna be really excited about this.
The big reveal, Larry. Oh, gorgeous.
Look at that, Larry.
Turbocharged 12-valve Cummins.
Yeah.
Automatic transmission. No more flathead in there.
Nah.
How much horsepower did it have?
150 horse.
And this?
500 horsepower or something like that. We had to rebuild the firewall around that big old engine. And then went with the red paint on the Cummins.
I see there's got some AC lines going there too, buddy.
Yeah, we got you hooked up with that too, for sure. Of course, we had to add you some big old stacks out the back too.
I noticed them right when I walked in, the stove tops.
It ought to fit right in the yard now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we might have to put this thing to work.
One other thing, I gotta have you riding good on the inside too.
Oh, gorgeous.
I'm styling now, buddy.
Yeah, man. And power steering
beautiful.
too.
A normal steering wheel.
Yeah.
New gauges.
Everything's 100% new in it. New column, new shifter, sprayed it, body color.
It just looks amazing.
We've done a ton of work to this thing. We didn't just stop at the truck. We had to come on with it with the trailer too. As you're walking by, you see the new paneling that we have all underneath here. It's had its share of fixes from here and there. What we did is cladded the whole bottom side so you don't see any of that.
It looks so
amazing.
Good. It had a big axle with a big spring pack and air brakes on it. We ripped all that out and put a 10,000-pound trailer axle with electric brakes so you can drive it like a normal truck and trailer. Of course, we had to put some new wheels and tires on it to look cool. And not only that, a big 4-link rear suspension with the big airbags, so it's not gonna beat you to death.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It looks so good. Your team did a wonderful job. The LED lighting on the trailer, everything looks great.
We got one other thing to show you.
What is
that?
it?
You wanna hit it?
All right.
You're gonna like this one.
Oh, listen to that.
It's a first for us. We've never bagged a tanker truck and trailer before, right?
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
From her late husband starting the company to where it is now, and from seeing the truck where it was to where it is now, I can really tell Lynn was excited about this.
Every time we showcase it, we're going to think of you all and this amazing transformation.
Such a big build like this, it takes everyone in the shop. I can't thank my team enough.
Well, we're gonna get back to
Thanks,
it.
Thank you so much.
Wow, look at that.
So cool.
A big thank you to the Excessive crew. They did an awesome job.
Yeah, we can't thank them enough. It was above and beyond what we expected, and we have a job still.
That's good.